Does Kim believe her? Emmerdale's Dawn Fletcher has confided in Kim Tate about her suspicions of Joe Tate, following her father Will Taylor's death. Joe returned to the village on Christmas Day as part of his scheme to take Kim down, after she tried to have him killed 6 years ago. After Joe arrived at home farm and exposed Will's involvement in the scheme, Will suffered a heart attack in a shocking festive cliffhanger. Kim performed life-saving measures on her husband, but when the emergency services arrived and took over, they quickly pronounced Will dead. While the family were grieving at home, Charity told Billy about Joe's dodgy past, leading him and Dawn to believe that Joe was somehow involved in Will's death. Tonight's December 30 episode saw Dawn tell Kim that she wanted to begin planning her dad's funeral, while Kim urged her to grieve first. "I've been thinking about when we could have it. Well, it depends on when we get the results of the post-mortem," Dawn said. "I just want to do right by Dad. I don't want to leave anything to the last minute." Joe then led Kim out of the room to give Dawn and Billy some space. A frustrated Dawn then told her husband that she noticed Joe looked worried when she mentioned the post-mortem. "He was trying to act like it was nothing, but he was stressing," she noted. "It's like he's come in, he's taking over and he's just controlling everything. There's definitely something going on, isn't there?" Later, Dawn managed to get Kim on her own and shared her suspicions of Joe after he returned to the village on the day that Will died. "It's a bit weird, isn't it?" she said. "The Kim I know would think he did something," Dawn continued, before Kim said that she can't just accuse people without any proof. "Something's not right, Kim. I can feel it in my gut," Dawn added, with Kim then noting that Joe didn't know Will, so wouldn't have any reason to hurt him. "You're grieving, Dawn, we all are. But we need to keep some sort of perspective," she added, leaving Dawn frustrated. With Dawn's suspicions on her mind, Kim spoke to Joe about his random arrival. Joe assured Kim that he was gathering proof that Will was out to ruin her, saying, "My hands are clean here." Joe then went to pacify Dawn about his intentions with her family, but she refused to believe his nice guy act. "I don't even know you, Joe. All I know is since you turned up, everything has gone bad," she said. "You've got this wrong," Joe assured before Dawn warned. "No, you have, because whatever you did to my dad, it'll come out." Believe her? Just watch. The tensions rise in Emmerdale as Dawn Fletcher suspects Joe Tate. The long-running drama of Emmerdale has once again delivered an emotionally charged storyline, leaving viewers questioning motives, alliances, and the possibility of betrayal. This week, the death of Will Taylor and the unexpected return of Joe Tate have sparked a wave of suspicion and unease among the residents of the village. But at the heart of it all is Dawn Fletcher, who has found herself grappling with suspicions that might just tear her family apart. The burning question remains, does Kim Tate believe her? A festive homecoming turned tragedy. Joe Tate's dramatic return to Emmerdale on Christmas Day was anything but joyous. His arrival was laced with ulterior motives as he sought to bring down Kim Tate, a woman who had once orchestrated his supposed death 6 years ago. However, Joe's appearance coincided with a devastating event. During the climactic moments of his arrival, Will Taylor suffered a fatal heart attack, leading to one of the most shocking festive episodes in Emmerdale history. Kim's attempts to save her husband's life proved futile. Despite performing life-saving measures until the emergency services arrived, Will was pronounced dead at the scene, leaving Kim, Dawn, and the rest of the family reeling from the loss. While grief enveloped Home Farm, it wasn't long before questions arose about Joe's role in the events leading to Will's untimely demise. Joe Tate's return dredged up old wounds, particularly for Kim, who has never shied away from using ruthless tactics to eliminate threats. Joe's vendetta against Kim is rooted in her past attempts to have him killed, an action that led to years of bitterness and planning on his part. Now, as Joe integrates himself back into the fabric of village life, his intentions have become a focal point of speculation. Charity Dingle added fuel to the fire by recounting Joe's murky past to Billy Fletcher. This conversation planted seeds of doubt in Billy's mind and subsequently in Dawn's, who began to question whether Joe's return and Will's death were more than just a tragic coincidence. The December 30 episode of Emmerdale saw Dawn Fletcher confront Kim Tate with her growing unease about Joe's presence and his possible involvement in her father's death. The episode opened with Dawn expressing her desire to start planning Will's funeral, a task that she hoped would honor her father's memory. "I've been thinking about when we could have it," Dawn told Kim, referencing the need to wait for post-mortem results. "I just want to do right by Dad. I don't want to leave anything to the last minute." However, Kim's response revealed a different perspective. She urged Dawn to focus on grieving before diving into the logistics, a suggestion that only heightened Dawn's frustration. Joe's behavior during this interaction further raised Dawn's suspicions. Noticing his tense demeanor when she mentioned the postmortem, Dawn couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. He was trying to act like it was nothing, but he was stressing, Dawn later confided to Billy. "It's like he's come in, he's taking over, and he's just controlling everything. There's definitely something going on, isn't there?" In a pivotal scene, Dawn managed to get Kim alone to voice her concerns. Her words were laced with both desperation and determination as she tried to make Kim see what she believed to be the truth about Joe. "It's a bit weird, isn't it?" Dawn said, referencing Joe's return to the village on the same day her father died. "The Kim I know would think he did something." Kim, however, remained composed and pragmatic. "I can't just accuse people without any proof," she replied. Despite her measured response, Dawn pressed on, insisting that her gut feeling couldn't be ignored. "Something's not right, Kim. I can feel it in my gut," Dawn insisted. But Kim countered, pointing out that Joe had no connection to Will, and therefore no apparent motive to harm him. "You're grieving, Dawn, we all are. But we need to keep some sort of perspective," Kim said, attempting to pacify the situation. Her response left Dawn feeling both unheard and increasingly frustrated. Kim's private conversation with Joe later in the episode added another layer of complexity. Addressing the random timing of his arrival, Kim questioned his motives directly. Joe, however, insisted that he had nothing to hide and that his intentions were solely to protect Kim by exposing Will's alleged plans to ruin her. "My hands are clean here," Joe asserted, presenting himself as a man of integrity. Yet his assurances did little to quell the storm brewing within the family. Recognizing the tension, Joe approached Dawn to clarify his position, but rather than easing her concerns, their exchange only deepened the divide between them. Dawn's hostility was palpable as she accused Joe of bringing misfortune into their lives.